I'm so glad you stopped by. My name is Carmen Sean, and I wanted to share some tips on late night cravings. Like, who doesn't have those, right? Now, this is something that I battled with for years and years and years and years. Like, when I say that, I mean most of my life I battled with cravings at night. There's so many things that cause this, but I guess this inspired me a little bit because I'm going out this evening to meet some friends to see a friend's band play. I'm going to be drinking a few glasses of wine, most likely. And have you noticed that when you drink, you want to eat food? And we almost associate, like, we just know that's going to happen. You're going to want to eat, especially when you finish drinking. That's when you go hit the drive-thrus. That's when you come home and start picking at food that you probably shouldn't be having. And it adds, and it's so unnecessary. And we feel hungry. We actually feel hungry, but there's a reason for that. Alcohol actually activates your AGRP neurons that stimulate hunger in your body. So it's actually a false reading, really. But what it does is it activates these neurons and makes you want to eat. So then that's what kind of gets you going. So think about that. If you come home every night and you have a couple glasses of wine or a couple beers, and then later on in the evening you want some food, that is most likely why. And no one wants to, cut out enjoying things that they like, but then you have to take a step back and ask yourself why you're having those glasses of wine and that beer and why you need it every night. Usually it's because of something that I've talked about before, the polarity of food. And this means basically if you've had a bad day, stressful day, you feel a little tense, you're going to look for blissful foods, which include dairy, alcohol, sweets to kind of make you feel a little bit better. And you're trying to balance yourself out. When what you really need is just to manage stress a little bit better, make sure you let go, stay in your car a little bit, do whatever you have to do, let go of your day before you come into the house. Some other reasons why you may have those late night cravings is what you're eating for dinner. If you're having a ton of salt on your food for dinner or a high sodium meal for dinner, more than likely you're going to crave some sugar afterwards. And again, we go back to that polarity of food. If you are eating too much salty food, your body is going to naturally want to balance that out with sweet. So you probably notice that after a big meal that is maybe a little higher in sodium, you'll want a sweet. That's just like if you've ever eaten Chinese food and then afterwards you want something sweet, that's typically why. Also, if you have a meal that's not balanced, so if you eat something that's really high in carbs, I'm a firm believer of eating carbs in your last meal because that does help you sleep. But at the same time, if you're not balancing that meal out with some protein, some veg, a fiber is carb, the fiber is key, and making sure you're getting some healthy fats in there. You need that balanced meal because if it's not, and it increases the insulin, more than likely you're going to start craving foods because the insulin's going to come up and down, right? So beware that you're balancing those meals for dinner. Also, if you eat dinner really early, like say you're eating around 5 or 6 and then you go to bed at 11, that's a long time for you to not eat. And I do suggest to my clients to stop eating around 8. But if you know that you're eating at 6 and you're going to bed at 11, you may want to grab something small at 8 o'clock just so that you're not going to be wanting to pick at something at 10. I suggest some veggies and a homemade dip. That's great option is using like guacamole or hummus that's got a little bit more fat in it just to keep the satiety and helps you not want to crave any sugary foods or other foods after that. Also, sometimes our body sends us a hunger signal when we're thirsty, believe it or not. So if you feel like you're hungry, kind of take a step back and ask yourself, how much water did I drink today? Because if you haven't drank much, of course, by the end of the day, you're going to be dehydrated and thirsty. So try grabbing a glass of water or a herbal tea and see if that does help. Especially if you do have a glass of wine or a beer for dinner, that's going to add to the dehydration. So drink some water. it may turn that hunger signal right off for you. Now, there's many more reasons why you can crave food. There's also association with certain activities. So, for instance, if you grew up eating while watching TV, when you sit down to watch TV, you're more than likely going to want to eat. So, if you've been watching TV and then suddenly you get those cravings for food or need to eat, maybe switch your activity, go read, or get your food ready and your clothes ready for the next day, which you should be doing anyway. Step away from the TV and disassociate yourself with it so that you're not going to want that food. And it's really, really difficult to do because it's a habit. It's a habit that you formed over the years. So that association can be a big part of why you want to eat, not that you're actually hungry. So always stop and ask yourself, if this is something that bothers you and you want to stop doing, you have to be very present in your choices and be present in how you're thinking and why you're doing it. So just ask yourself questions like, am I hungry? Why am I doing this? Am I bored? Is it because I'm watching TV? And really pay attention and journal and write this stuff down. And a lot of people don't want to step into that you know, ooey gooey feeling stuff, but if you really want to make change and you want to change your habits, writing your thoughts down is so important. And you can talk to any successful person, any person that has really made dramatic change in their life for the good. I can guarantee you they write their thoughts down and journal. So it's really important that you document kind of what is going on so that you're able to better create change and you become more present in what you're doing, your actions and your habits. So I hope this was really helpful. So I am going to head out to join my friends for dinner and enjoy a couple glasses of wine, enjoy my friend's band. And now, because I understand why I crave food after drinking a few glasses of alcohol, I stop myself from doing it. I also keep stuff in my fridge that is healthy so that I make that better choice too. That's another great tip for you. Anyways, thanks guys, and I hope this has helped you make better decisions when it comes to late night eating.